My name is Arian. I used to live in Cyprus for around 5 years. I'm the founder of Evernomic, which is a venture studio with a focus on media and software. And we have people based in a few locations, but obviously since I lived here and we have people based in Cyprus as well, we always have ties. And essentially we design systems, frameworks, and knowledge bases that we can then apply to multiple startups, try to grow them as efficiently as possible. And we try to bring in a network of companies and people together that overall can create an ecosystem that startups, ideas, people can generally thrive in. I think it's very, very important. I'm not Cypriot myself, right? I moved here and I lived here for 5 years and then I went abroad. But even though I don't have any roots here by blood, let's say, just out of respect for the 5 years that I spent here, I had a great time. It helped me a lot. I grew in Cyprus a lot. And after I moved, I felt almost a responsibility that at the end of the day, you have to represent your roots as much as possible, even if you're not related by blood. If you're related by blood, then that's even more amplified, right? And I try to represent it as best as I can, and I talk to a lot of people, and the fact is, Cyprus and many other countries, they don't come into day-to-day conversations, right? There's a lot about the country that people have no clue about, they've never heard of, and they're surprised when they see it, right? And there's a lot of people I've spoken to in the Netherlands, they didn't even know where Cyprus was located, right? And I've always tried to bring people back and show them around. I always talk good about Cyprus overall and try to show the benefits of it. And believe it or not, now I've got a lot of people that I'm very close to and I work with closely as well, that they're like, you know what, Cyprus sounds like an ideal destination to move to at a later point. There's a lot they appreciate about it, and it's something that they never would have seen otherwise, right? And then if they come and they start working with Cypriots that are local, or they boost the economy, or they do whatever, and then they try to add to the country in whatever way they can, then that's a simple conversation or a simple mention, very little effort on my end, leading to a butterfly effect that keeps adding, right? So in that sense, I think it's very important, regardless of where you're from, but in this case, Cyprus, it's very important to try to represent it. And at the end of the day, you have to be transparent as well. The good comes with the bad, but it's important to represent your country, and especially coming from a civilian, it's completely different than what someone hears on, let's say, mainstream media, or which they don't hear often at all. So I think it's crucial, and this is why this event is also such a great initiative, bringing people from all across the world to gather around, and it sort of fosters that community that you sometimes lack. I think Cyprus is very unique in many different ways. Firstly, the culture itself is also very, very unique. The lifestyle is very, very good, and it's sort of a mix between sort of the more traditional Middle Eastern culture and then a mix between the sort of European culture as well. And it's an interesting mix. I don't think you can find it often. And people that move here, they always have very unique impressions of it, regardless of whether it's the same or not. They always have unique impressions of the country after living here. The lifestyle is very, very good, and it's a very homey place. This is one thing that I've realized anyway. I've lived in big cities, I've lived in small cities. It's very difficult to go somewhere and you feel at home. And not many countries can provide that. I think Cyprus excels at that. And what's really nice about, anyway, at least the business scene in Cyprus, is that it's such a close community. There's a lot of people and there's much to do. But at the end of the day, if you live here for a few years, then you keep meeting people and you talk to one person, another. At the end of the day, you're going to have the circle more or less under your control, right? And not necessarily in a sort of controlling way, but also in the sense that you're going to know the relevant people, who to speak to, etc., etc. So in that sense, I think it's very community driven, and it obviously has a lot of benefits for businesses. Naturally, a lot of them move here because of taxes and the regulations, etc., etc. That's besides the point. But they can come here, they've got the community, they can live a good life, and they'll know people, and it's a nice sort of environment for them to thrive in. And I think in that sense, it's very, very promising. And you see the people that are moving in now, there's sort of a very diverse background moving in. And obviously Cyprus is known for the financial industry and real estate and tourism. But if you look around, there's people that have international products that all countries are using in many, many different fields. And it's like one of them that it comes to mind now, I'm not going to name drop, but is in healthcare, for example, and they're based in Limassol, right? So you don't really recognize that there's people of all backgrounds. And if you move here, it's very rare that you try your best and you don't find the people that you need to click with. So I think in that sense, it's also very, very promising. Whereas if you go to a much bigger city, then you're going to be just a tiny, tiny fish in the sea, and you can feel lost very, very easily. So in that sense, I think Cyprus is also very promising for the future of business and anyone looking to move here. And obviously the locals get boosted by this as well. So